just like you share. Oh. Sometimes you hit that button and I'm not ready for it, and I'm doing something weird, like looking at my mouth or something. Oh my gosh!
It's okay. I got the.
Mina.
Hi. Wait. I got. There we go.
Mina went to the ocean this morning, and she's feeling all feisty. You really do look like you're in the ocean though when you do that with your head.
Yeah.
Do it again.
Good. Right. Because like you got to have the tentacles behind. Okay, I'm sorry.
That's a real painting. She didn't just like put that as a weird.
It's a beautiful painting that my sister did. So yeah, it's a piece of her soul. So she did all the lines. She used to. She actually counted all the lines. A lot of my family are artists, so a lot of us do. Yeah. We paint for fun. But she paints for a job.
Beautiful. I wish I was like that. I mean.
Yeah, it's really. I think I have like some famous uncle or something that does all this. He actually makes a living off of it. My sister's amazing. We're getting into a different place. All right, serendipitous meetings.
Yeah, so today's topic figured to be a little bit lighter, serendipitous meetings, and I love them. Yeah. To be perfectly honest, there's those moments where you just get that little chill of, ooh, something else is out there, and what are the odds? And it almost kind of is like an affirmation that you're on the right track. Like the universe is going, hey, we see you.
Yeah, we love you.
Yeah. What are these chance encounters? And Mina and I are going to talk about a couple of instances that we've had and viewpoints on the topic and, and that sort of thing. But so you have much more in-depth serendipitous moments than I do. What was one of your biggest ones?
Okay, I'm going to go with one of my biggest. So I was meditating a lot during I took 2 years off of my life and just started meditating, dream walking. And one day I went surfing. And afterwards I was just so angry. And I'm, angry after surfing just doesn't happen. Right. And I was so angry and I was like, okay, I've got to fix this. So I told my boyfriend and my sister, to just take off and just like, I'm going to go to the park. So I went to the park by myself. And I started meditating. I just sat down and, started hanging out. And I was like, I'm going to calm this anger inside of me. And all of a sudden, this swarm of dragonflies just starts circling me and circling. I mean, I don't even know how many, over a couple hundred, and they just start circling me in a perfect like vortex kind of twister energy. Right. And they just continue it for, I don't know how long it happened, but over 10 minutes. It was unbelievable. And in the end, 2 dragonflies were right in front of me and they started fighting. And, what do you do? Break up a dragonfly flight? So I just sat there.
How do you do that?
I just kept meditating or just try to, do it. And, you could see the swarm doing their own thing up above. Mm-hmm. And then, one dragonfly won and he took off. And then the other dragonfly didn't win. And he had disconnected, right? So what was left was his eyes and his little arms, right? His front arms, so to speak. And he kept repeating this one movement over and over again, not joking, for over 20 minutes. Okay. And I'm pretty sure that's not possible. I don't know a lot about, insect stuff, but I'm pretty sure that it doesn't continue going for that long. And so then I was like, okay, so clearly there's a message because it was the same cycle. And then I looked at it and having known sign language from when I was a kid, and then luckily growing up with it, I realized it was like a sign language thing. And he was like, take me home with you. And I was like, okay, I'm going to take you home with me. So I packaged him up. And then, so during that time though, during that meditation, it was such a great experience because I was practicing being able to see what's around me. And so I would close my eyes and I would guess the people that would be walking behind me or walking in front of me, and I'm like, okay, they're wearing this, this, and this, and this. Right. Mm-hmm. And so it was really super cool because this goes into something else. And I guess everybody's perfect articles of clothing, everything. Mm-hmm. And except this one guy that all of a sudden I didn't see him. I literally didn't see him and I could see everybody. And I was like, what the hell? How can I not see this guy? And he just kept walking. And so then I practiced my thing, right? And I was like, who are you? And he turned and he looked at me and he smiled. And I said this in my head, of course. And, he kept walking, and then he was, and I said it again. I was like, really? I was like, dude, you're like a dragon dude, right? And he turned around. He looked at me. He had a cane in his hand, and he put his cane up, like saying, hello. Yep, you've got it right. And then he just kept walking. And I was like, oh my gosh. I just like met dragonfly dude, right?
He was a deformed dragonfly.
I have no idea. I was just like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. Anyways, so obviously I wasn't angry anymore. I took my little dragonfly guy and I took him home with me. And I kind of kept him for a while. And then eventually I gave him like the proper burial and stuff like that. Because like, dude, he was like one of my first guide teachers, and it was so cool.
You gonna do with the deformed? He was gonna die. I mean,
it was amazing. It was just amazing though. Like, I mean, who has that kind of experience, right? All right, go ahead. You're up.
So I think everybody's going to start to know that my grandpa was a huge influence on my life. And when I went to visit his...
What was your grandpa's name?
Donald.
Donald.
Well, he was from Syracuse, and that's how my grandma used to say his name. So you just hear her yell, Donald! What? Like, that's all I think about is like whenever I say... People say Don, but I just always remember him as Donald. But when he passed, he had a gravesite with my grandma, and it's always weird to see somebody that you love's grave, And I just did what I always did. Whenever I would come home to visit, I would go and I just took some sandwiches or sandwich for myself, and I just sat there at their gravesite and kind of meditated a little bit, and I said, give me a sign or something. I mean, and when you're there, you have those private moments where you're just legit just talking to them. And as I was leaving, I was going to the car, there was this fawn. This is the middle of the day in a suburb, just clear as day, closer to the downtown area where cars are going. Out of nowhere, this fawn comes barreling through the cemetery. And I saw like little butterflies behind him, like a Disney movie. And I was like, what are the odds you're going to see a fawn alone in the middle of the day in a busy area or neighborhood, just bounding through a cemetery? Like he knew exactly where he was going. And I just lost it.
And fawn is his animal, right? That was his favorite.
So that's really where it came from. But ever since then, fawns just pop up a lot.
I love that. What kind of, did you say butterflies or moths?
Butterflies.
Nice. That's awesome.
Like little butterflies.
Because like sometimes people say that like white moths or, white butterflies or, different types can represent also the spirit energy of the other. Some people say.
Well, and the fawn makes a lot of sense because he was, he had a gentle masculinity about him. I guess my brother used to say that. And I thought that was a really great description. So, but that happened. And I remember like I was just sitting in the car and it's like it hits you where you start laughing and crying at the same time.
Yeah, that's sweet. I love that.
And the thing is that I feel like enough people in life, they go, well, that's just a coincidence. I just want to be like, well, screw you. I mean, do you want to go through life thinking that it's just a series of coincidences and, there's nothing out there to help you. There's no magic. It's just you versus the world. I mean, hey.
Yeah, no, that was magical. I mean,
I'd rather believe in magic than be like, well, that's just a coincidence. You're like, well, you're just squashing magic, so.
I totally believe in magic. I believe in Santa Claus. We'll get into that later.
That song, right? Nobody rain on my parade. That's totally what I think. I'm just like. But you have to smile at it because you're just like, do you see how it just.
So then we would ask, like, was that, his same spirit going inside the fawn and being like, hey, dude, I'm going to jump inside of you and we're going to go say, hey, what's up? I know you're here. Or is it just, his spirit saying, hey, Fawn, would you mind going and saying hi to Sam? Or is it simply the universe saying, I hear you, and I want to let you know I hear you, and we fill you with love, right? Regardless, it's super cool. But
yeah, or just like those moments, because I love those moments, and there were times when I was working, when we were pre-COVID, I was walking out with a coworker, and I was just like, I would always see butterflies every morning from where I was working to the commissary, and I would walk with her, and I was like, gosh, I'm always seeing so many butterflies everywhere. She's like, I don't see them, and I was like, I just remember going, okay. But then I just thought, when you have those serendipitous moments, it's fun because you kind of feel like it's almost like you're opening up a little bit.
Yeah.
Beyond your little world, and you're like, oh my gosh, there's magic.
Yeah.
That childlike wonder of excitement. And I'm always going to say childlike wonder because it's like, that's something that I had an acting teacher say that once. He's like, how do people become good actors? He's like, you have to look at everything on stage as if you're a 5-year-old.
Oh, I love that.
You're exploring it and, willing to take the chance.
It's just like meditation. And if you really want to open up your gifts, go back. To being amazed, to the cup being always half full, go back to anything's possible. Yeah.
And I just love that. And those serendipitous moments, I think, are there. And deja vu too. I think it's just a lot of like, hey,
that's a totally different show.
Okay, we'll talk about that
one down.
Okay.
All right. I got another one. Okay, so it was my birthday, and I went surfing. And when I came out of going surfing, there was this, it was after my mom had passed, and there was this piece of trash floating in the, in the ocean, exactly, all of a sudden just popped up exactly where I'd been surfing, and there was nobody around. I go surfing where luckily there less people go. And so my boyfriend at the time went, and he dove in. He's like, can I go for it? I was like, go for it. I was like, I don't know what it is. So he's like going to go try to grab it. And the ocean, clearly message from my mom, like the ocean, whether my mom or the ocean, was like, screw you, to the boyfriend, right? And doesn't allow him to grab it and takes it all the way to me, right? So I go, and, it's always come up, and I pick it up, and it's a balloon, and it says on it, happy. And my mom's dog's name was Happy. And it was my birthday. And so then also happy birthday, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so super cool. I was like, thanks, Mom. And I still have it saved somewhere. And
yours are way cooler than mine. I mean, that's a pretty obvious message. It's your birthday. What are the odds a balloon is there? And, we all know your mom likes to brag on your boyfriends.
Yeah.
Which I kind of like.
Totally does. And then I could go back, because I was like, okay, I don't remember what I wanted to go back for. Oh no, I just, it's my birthday. So I was like, I'm going to go back again. And I think I took some other dogs with me, and we go back to hang out at the ocean, and at the same place where I had been surfing there. Oh, excuse me. When we left after getting out of the water, some dolphins circled the area, like a little tiny mini school of dolphins were circling and just playing where exactly I was surfing. So then I left, I came back, I don't know, it was over 3 hours later, and they were still there. And it was like, oh my gosh, no way. So I call up my godmother. My godmother's this higher up in an indigenous tribe I'm part of. And I was like, hey, so this is what happened. So, why do you think it happened? She was like, well, it was your healing energy, and your healing energy kind of just left this, happiness aura, if you will, or whatever. And it left it there, and they just wanted to, take advantage of it. And so I was like, that is just the coolest, oh
my gosh. That's just so cool. And when those moments happen, don't discredit them. For those who are like, oh yeah, so that happened, it was a coincidence. You're like, no, it's not a coincidence. Sometimes the world has a way of sending you messages. And if you're open enough to it, they start happening more. And I think that's, and it doesn't have to be something as Mina's was very obvious. It's like, oh, hey, happy
small.
birthday. Here's a balloon in the water. It says happy birthday on it. And I remember seeing it because it was like one of those old, like the big ones that you get at the grocery store, that kind of like
those Mylar ones.
those metallic kind of ones, and so funny. And yeah, well, I had another one where, and this is so minor, but every day I would go out for a walk during COVID, especially. I still do, but I remember seeing this lady. She's walking with her little like toy dog, and I was going, "Aw," because she was carrying him, and I just had this moment of, oh, I used to have to do that with my little Pekingese because he is such a little asshole that he was like, his thing was he had exactly a mile in him. So I remember I took him to the Rose Bowl when I first got him, thinking, oh, we'll go around the Rose Bowl for a little bit, and I got, the Rose Bowl is exactly 3 miles. I got 1.5 miles, and he stopped. So I had to carry him a mile and a half back to the car. And I just didn't know. And now I'm like, I would never take a Pekingese to the Rose Bowl. But I just had that moment of being reminded of having to shamefully carry my dog back. And the amount of people who were like, your dog, what, like thinking that I abused him or something. And I'm like, no, he's just, he's tired. So I picked him up, and they're like, you're just overexerting. It's one of those things. And
so many things. Yeah.
So cute, and he's just a little jerk, like, yeah, I'm fine. And then the minute I put him down in front of the car, he's like, yeah, let's do it
again. Of course.
But I was reminded of that instance, and I was like, oh man, I miss this little guy right here.
Yay.
His name, I did not name him, is Smoochie. But we call him the Smooch because it's a little more masculine, and he's with my mom now, just for other reasons. But I remember going, oh, I kind of miss the Smooch. And I started walking, and maybe 10 minutes later, I see this lady walking with a little red-haired Pekingese. Aww. Looks exactly like Smooch. And she picks him up because he decided he didn't want to walk anymore. And I was just like, and I actually talked to her for a little bit. I said, I had a dog that I was just thinking about him. He looked so much, they look like they could be twins. And I was like, how have I never seen you on this walk before? It's just like, he doesn't like to go very far. She's like, this is really just not normal. He doesn't like to walk. And I was like, Smooch is the same way. And the best thing was the dog's like losing his mind barking at me, just like Smooch used to do with everybody else. And I was like, oh. She's like, I've never seen somebody be willing to handle talking to me while this dog is losing his mind. And I was like, I had a dog just like him. There's no reason behind their weirdness. It's just the breed. They're very proud, and throw down. What they're gonna do, I have no idea.
I
black
love that.
face, no teeth, like just man-made dog. It's just like, but yeah, I was just like, what are the odds you're gonna go and see a red-haired Pekingese and you've never seen before in your neighborhood after you've walked it and it was just one of those moments where I was like, okay, something else is out there, something else is listening, something, sending you messages. And when you feel like you're more connected to the world, I think that's just so awesome.
Okay, I got another one. All right, so I was doing, I talked to gods, goddesses, a whole bunch of different, eventually we'll get into those later. But so Goddess Venus shows up when I'm dream walking, and she was like, okay, so I have a gift for you, and you're going to find it inside of the tree. And inside of the tree, so like I go to the tree, and when I'm dream walking, I go to the tree, and then she has this gorgeous gift for me. I don't even know what it was. It was just a box of just all these beautiful different colors and stuff like that. And I was like, thank you so much. That's so awesome. So then the next morning I'm walking my dog. I forget about it. I just write it down or whatever. And I'm walking my dog, and I walk by this very large, I don't know if it's like a palm tree kind of a thing. And I saw trash in it. And I just got so mad, that I was like, why do people put trash in there? And I pulled the trash out of there. And it was this jacket jammed inside, and inside of it there was this bracelet. And and I'll put a picture of it later. And there was this bracelet, and in the bracelet it like says all these things on it, like with love, blah blah blah. And then it had a name that was like Lena or not Mina, but Nina or something like that. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is what Venus was talking about. So I thought that was super cool. And then she came later on. Well, sorry, the universe did. So like I ended, my boyfriend broke up with me, and this was years ago. And I'm just devastated, right? And I go out and I cry to the moon, and I'm just, I'm just like blah, 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 all these things, right? Like you do. And she holds me, and I could feel the universe holding me. So the next morning I wake up and I go to my car, and it's I was parked in, I lived in apartment complexes in Long Beach. Was it Long Beach? I think it was around Long Beach area. And so I was parked in the carport, and on top of my car was a Care Bear that had a moon and a star. And I was like, oh my gosh, the universe, the moon totally sent me a Care Bear. Care Bears care, they share. And I just hold it so tight. I don't know where the Care Bear ended up, but like I took that thing everywhere. I was like, that was my homie. That was Moonstar. I need another Moonstar. I don't have another Moonstar. And like somehow along the years, eventually Moonstar disappeared, but maybe Moonstar had to go and help someone else. I don't know. But it was so awesome.
Somebody else's car.
right? Who knows?
Picture like this little like Care Bear, stuffed Care Bear.
Oh my gosh.
I gotta go.
I can't even, it was bigger. Like the head was as big as my head. It was huge. It was blue. It was Moonstar. I totally want a Moonstar, by the way. I'm putting that out there. I got to get another one.
Oh my God. Well, and it's like sometimes you can have these serendipitous moments where you even look back on it and go, oh, I didn't even think of that. Because, you have these moments in life where you're going, geez, I need to talk to somebody, but I feel like I've wasted my poor group of friends right now with talking to them all the time. And then out of nowhere, somebody just calls you right when you need to hear from them.
Right. Yes. Yes. That totally happens.
Or it's like, even when you call somebody and they go, I was just thinking about you. And you're like, wow, what are the odds? Those are the things that I love. Or, for me recently, it was like, when I got laid off, I was like, they're like, well, you'll get a career coach. And I was like, great, whatever. Mm-hmm. With this, it's like an exit program almost, like where they give you services to help you find another job, which is, I remember going, that's really cool. And then I got my career coach, and I was like, I looked her up with you, and I was like, oh, I like her, because I looked her up, and she was like a spiritual person, and she worked with one of my favorite meditation ladies, Denise Lynn, and I was like, what are the odds that she just happens to have worked and, facilitated meditations with Denise Lynn? What are the odds? And, we just had a great time, and she was so helpful, and hopefully I think she's actually on our page now. So maybe one day she'll watch it and be like, oh, that's me. But, it's like, this is one of those moments where it's like the right person showed up right as I needed them. And I think that there's a lot of instances like that. It's not just coincidence. It's not just, because I know when I've been like, yeah, I'm going to barrel through this and I'm going to work really hard. It's like nothing ever happens from that. But when you just kind of go, oh, and you just go with something, before you know it, you're just like, wow, that was way easier. And I kind of realized that sometimes when life happens and destiny happens, it's not as hard with what you're supposed to be doing. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, I got another one. Yeah, I do. I got another one. Okay. So I remember this one. So I used to have this Saint Christopher, and this is what me and Sam do, by the way, all the time on conversation. I was like, okay, I got it. Go ahead.
I got another one.
Sorry. Okay. So I used to have this Saint Christopher that was my mom's from, I don't know, and it had come to her magically. Like nobody gave it to her, but it said like Ricky 67 on it or something like that. Like the year 1967. But it came to her magically. It wasn't any Rickies that she knew. So I used to wear it all the time, and then eventually, like I just lost it, and I was like, okay, well, whatever, right? I wore it all the time in junior high, and then in high school, I couldn't find it, and so I was 15, and I remember, oh my gosh, this totally sucked. So I was breaking up with a boyfriend, and he was driving me home.
It always starts with breaking up with a boyfriend.
So I was breaking up with a boyfriend, and he was driving me home, and there was this like crazy, from Vandenberg Village to Santa Maria. There was this crazy, I don't know what it is, like a cliff kind of turn, and there's no real there at the time. There was no like really good railings, okay? And he starts to drive off of it because he can't handle that I'm breaking up with him. Ugh. And he, like, what the hell?
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh at that, but at the same time, I'm a little bit like, oh god, how old was he?
Yeah, 15, 16, because he's driving. And I grabbed the wheel, and I obviously put us back on course, and I'm like yelling at him and stuff. Anyway, so we made it home, and so he dropped me off, and he left. And as I walk into the house, there's these rocks right before the white picket fence. There's these rocks there, and on top of the rock in front of my house is the St. Christopher that I had lost years ago. And I was like, what the and so I grabbed it and I put it on, obviously, immediately, and I was like, yay, St. Christopher. So like, he's my dude.
You're like, take me home, crappy overdramatic boyfriend.
Yeah. So he was there for me.
That was definitely a sign of dump this guy and get out of the car.
Yeah, and him watching over me, totally watching over me. I again, and then the same thing happened with the necklace. Eventually, after so long, I lost it. But maybe, just like the Care Bear, it went to somebody else mysteriously. So whatever.
So you just picture like these inanimate objects growing life and going, I'm gonna move on.
It happens. It happens.
You're gonna waddle down the street and sit on the top of somebody else's car. I don't know. It's just the Care Bear in my head is funnier than the Saint. Just kind of picture like
sitting right here at the end of my.
Maybe you just randomly are walking down the street and you see some statue or Care Bear like waddling down the streets, like, I'm not for you. Stop looking at me. I would just have a moment of, dude. I'd call you. I'd just go, Beta, there's a walking Care Bear. Does it look like this?
You would. You'd call me.
If I see a walking Care Bear. If anybody here ever sees a walking Care Bear, please.
And it has a moon and a star on it, and it's blue.
Yeah, please be sure to send it to us.
And then if it has
and then maybe
it has 67 Ricky on the back. Send it back, please.
Send us the
I'll know which one.
And then go and get checked. Oh my god, I can't imagine. Yeah, because it's like your serendipitous moments are much more obvious, but I just because we were talking about that, like when people start to hit this level of seeing more serendipitous moments, and people say, "Well, you're ascending, your vibration's higher." It makes it sound like you're better than some. It's like the spiritual way of saying I'm better than you. Sometimes
I have a hard time with the word ascending.
Wait, I was just thinking that song. I am just. No, she's saying descending, not ascending. Wait.
Oh.
Whatever.
I like the words like I'm more in tune with the universe, or I'm more, one with my own spirit, or so that I'm open to receive more. I don't know. Yeah, or I'm more open.
It's open right now.
But because our personal things. If you like the word ascending, it's all you. No problems.
Yeah. It's just sometimes when people start using the whole like I'm vibrating higher, therefore I can't talk to other people. I'm like, just stop.
Ooh.
Just stop.
Yeah. We'll do that in another one.
That's another topic for another time.
Write them down.
Write it down.
All right, so what are your serendipitous moments?
Yeah, I want to hear people's serendipitous moments, and I'm going to find the song that I was singing so people can go, oh, what was that song? Because I was like, oh, and I also want to see pictures of the Care Bear that you're talking about. I'm sure you could find
totally. And then when I find the necklace or the bracelet too, that Venus sent me, definitely the Care Bear too. I don't St. Christopher though. I don't have any pictures of that one. Yeah.
Well, and the funny thing is
there.
that I started this little garden, and a friend of mine sent me because I told him I was looking for a fawn, for my garden. It's not like this was out of the blue, but he was nice enough to send it to me. But I kind of looked at the face, and I was like, "This kind of looks like my grandpa."
Aww.
It's the same expression, like a little, like cute but a little. Like that's my grandpa.
I love it. Thanks for joining us, Grandpa Donald.
Down, Grandpa down. I'm gonna put a picture of him up. All right, guys.
So tell us your guys' serendipitous moments. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.